and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll have an update on the investigation into the tragic fire at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont. Plus, Penquist hosted an event at Milford Place in Bangor to celebrate the construction of its new affordable housing units. We'll have the details ahead. And Thomas College and the University of New England celebrated their graduations over the weekend as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. It looks like it will be a mostly cloudy day today with temperatures reaching the 60s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. No advisories in effect. We're just watching some cloud cover moving in from the northwest and going toward the south and east. Overall, we will be watching for some rain showers that will be developing coming up later on today, moving from the northwest and going toward the south and east. We can see those rain showers developing right about in here, and even some thunderstorms showing up too. We have some lightning showing up. That lightning will be disappearing coming up later on. Futurecast showing the clouds and even the rain showers moving in later on this afternoon. We'll lose the rain showers coming up, some clouds and even some fog developing later on tonight. As for the wind, it won't be much of a problem today. Maybe a few gusts coming up during the afternoon period, up to around 15 miles per hour. The winds overall backing off later on tonight, but really picking up for everybody as we head towards your Tuesday. But for today, mid-60s, mostly cloudy rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, clouds today, chances for rain showers. Temperature is in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll look forward to that. Well, the investigation into the fire at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont is underway as officials work to determine what caused the fire and subsequent explosion that killed one firefighter and injured several others. Investigators from the State Fire Marshal's Office were joined by special agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives National Response Team on Sunday morning. The Fire Marshal's Office shared an update on Sunday afternoon that fire investigators from both agencies will conduct a joint scene examination focused on determining the origin and the cause. Operations at the scene are expected to continue throughout the week, and the scene will remain secured. The fire and explosion at the Searsmont Mill on Friday was unprecedented, drawing dozens of first responders to the scene. Initial crews called on backup, describing the scene as a mass casualty incident. Our Callie Warren provides us with a recap of what transpired in Searsmont on Friday and on Saturday.
The Searsmont Fire Department was dispatched down to Robbins Lumber Company.
This is a mass casualty incident.
A fire at Robbins Lumber at 506 Main Street in Searsmont claimed the life of an on-duty firefighter, injured several, and left crews battling hot spots well into the following day.
Chaotic scene initially, and not because of the efforts of the first responders, but because of the magnitude of the fire involvement.
The Searsmont Fire Department was the first to arrive just after 10 a.m. Friday, with multiple other Waldo County volunteer departments responding to knock down what started as a fire inside a silo in the mill.
There's been a huge explosion. The silo just exploded. Multiple firefighters injured and burning.
During their suppression efforts, an explosion occurred, causing a mass casualty incident. One firefighter was found deceased on the scene, identified as 27-year-old Andrew Cross of the Morrill Fire Department. Several individuals were initially reported to be in serious and critical condition.
How many injuries do we have?
Known at least 10, if not more. A lot of people are third degree.
A statement on Saturday from Maine Health Medical Center in Portland says that personnel continue to treat 8 patients who were injured. 2 were treated and transferred. All employees of the mill were accounted for.
Buildings can be replaced, employees cannot. And the fire department has done a tremendous job.
Dozens of agencies helped assist from across the state, providing mutual aid, while community members came together to offer food, water, and support.
here in Waldo County, most of our fire departments are made up of volunteers. They're awfully incredible, dedicated individuals.
At 2:15 p.m. Saturday, command was terminated, resulting in 28 difficult hours fighting that fire.
There were 3 towns that each lost 1 apparatus, so that's definitely a hole that'll need to be filled, but not as important as the people that are hurt.
The investigation into the cause of the fire is underway. In Searsmont, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, now we turn our attention to the Morrill firefighter who died at the scene on Friday, Andrew Cross. The Liberty Fire and Rescue Department shared a video showing the somber moment Cross's body was removed from the scene of the fire on Friday. We're going to show some of that footage. The fire department posted the video to social media, sharing that every individual present at the scene of Robbins Lumber stopped and united to facilitate the beginning of Andrew Cross's transportation to Augusta. The department added that one of their firefighters completed basic fire school last year with Cross as his training partner and is deeply affected by this loss. They noted that this underscores the strong bonds formed during training and collaborative work, a sentiment that becomes known when viewing this video. Well, the following day, the Maine State Police, alongside dozens of fire, EMS, and police agencies from all across the state, took part in an honorable transfer of 27-year-old Andrew Cross. This was the scene from Saturday's procession in Belfast.
I just think that Andrew was the type of guy that if you knew him for 5 minutes, you had a friend. I have a 12-year-old son, and when he gets older, I'd like to have him be just like Andrew.
It meant a lot. There were people lined up all the way from Augusta to here along the side of the road as the procession went by, so I think that meant a lot, and I hope that means a lot to the family.
We're all here to support, these families, and we hope that we hope that by being here, they can understand that we stand with them.
We're just kind of trying to understand it and absorbing the loss.
It's just a terrible loss for everybody. Been an emotional 24 hours, and we're not done.
Well, the fire marshal's office, as he said yesterday, that they're also monitoring the conditions of patients receiving care at hospitals throughout New England, many of whom remain in critical condition. We're also learning more about a firefighter who is recovering after sustaining serious burns from Friday's explosion. Firefighter Catherine Page is a member of the Belmont Fire Department and a lieutenant for the Northport Fire Department. She was at the scene on Friday when the silo exploded and was severely burned there. That's according to her husband, Belmont firefighter Paul Page. According to Belmont's fire chief, Ron Howford, Catherine is the kind of firefighter they can always count on, and she was named Firefighter of the Year in 2025. Catherine Page was one of the many who was transported to Maine Medical Center in Portland. Her husband shared an update yesterday that she is responsive but is on a breathing tube and will need several surgeries and skin grafts. A GoFundMe has been set up to support her anticipated long road to recovery. That information can be found on our website at foxbangor.com. Well, officials from the town of Searsmont have shared that the town will be establishing an official relief fund in the coming days to support individuals and families affected by the Robbins Lumber fire. Officials are also warning people that many unofficial fundraisers have already started circulating online. The town shared in a social media post that they are encouraging everyone to be vigilant and double-check the source of any fundraiser before donating. Once the official Town Relief Fund is fully set up, official donation instructions will appear on the town's Facebook page and on their website. Later on in the broadcast, we'll also share with you some of the people who were actually out supporting those in need over the past couple of days. Well, in other news this morning, authorities have recovered the body of a paddleboarder who went missing on Graham Lake earlier this month. According to the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, the body of Grayson Moat, 20, of Ellsworth, was found Friday evening by a family member who was out searching for him by boat. He was reportedly found dead approximately 0.2 of a mile from the shore of Graham Lake. The intensive water and air search for Moat began when he had gone missing while paddleboarding on Graham Lake on Tuesday, May 5th. Authorities say that his body has been transported to the state medical examiner's office. In response to the tragic death of Grayson Moat, the Ellsworth community is stepping in to offer support for that family. On Wednesday, Helen's Restaurant in Ellsworth will host a benefit spaghetti dinner. The owner of Helen's Restaurant shared that she has known the family for decades, and she says this is a profound loss that resonates throughout the entire community. All the money raised will go to the Moat family to help with funeral arrangements or other expenses.
It's something to us that family just should not have to think about, and we're all happy to help and donate so that's one less thing that they have to worry about.
There will also be a silent auction. More information can be found on the Helen's Restaurant of Ellsworth Facebook page, and the dinner will be held from 4:30 to 6:30, and again, that is on Wednesday. Well, multiple people have been displaced and a residence was badly damaged following an early morning fire in Brewer yesterday. According to Captain Joe Dowdy with the Brewer Fire Department, crews responded to 508 South Main Street in Brewer around 1:30 a.m. for a structure fire. Upon arrival, they found heavy fire coming from the back of that structure. According to Captain Dowdy, this was a 3-unit building with 5 tenants home at the time of the fire. He says everyone made it out safely before crews arrived on the scene and no one was injured.
We all work together with cooperation from Bangor, Orrington, Eddington, Holden, and Dedham. We all worked together and extinguished the fire and knocked it down and took care of it.
The building has not been deemed a total loss, but did sustain significant damage. The cause of that fire is currently under investigation. The time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a new chapter was unveiled at Millinocket Regional Hospital as they highlighted their new ER department. We'll have more ahead. But first, another check of our forecast. For today, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, highs around 66. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy with temperatures in the upper 40s. And for tomorrow, scattered thunder showers with highs around 87. We'll be right back.
Let's go, ball in.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
Situated in Jonesboro on the coast of Maine lies Barren View Golf Course, a true links course that's a treat for golfers of all skill levels. We feature a driving range, putting green, practice sand trap, pro shop, and snack bar. Open 7 days a week. Please call ahead for a tee time.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. Do you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
After years of planning, a boost to one of rural Maine's healthcare systems came to fruition on Friday as Millinocket Regional Hospital unveiled its new ER department. Our Doug Banks with that story.
We are here for you, and we're not going anywhere.
A new chapter for one rural Maine community in its healthcare system was unveiled on Friday as Millinocket Regional Hospital held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for its new ER department, doubling the number of working bays, expanding the footprint of the department by more than 11,000 square feet, and bringing state-of-the-art technology to provide state-of-the-art care.
It takes a village to build something of this magnitude in rural America.
The ceremonial groundbreaking took place on New Year's Eve 2024. Around $13 million in congressionally directed spending went into the project and was provided by Senator Susan Collins.
The generous contributions to the new emergency department received from so many individuals, foundations, businesses, organizations demonstrate how much this hospital means to this region.
The opening of this modernized emergency department marks a significant step forward in our organization and for the community we serve.
The total cost of the project was around $17 million. In early June, hospital officials say they'll be transitioning operations from the old ER to the new ER.
Then the current space will be renovated, and once the renovation of the current ER is completed, the two sections will be joined together to make one large emergency department.
In Millinocket, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, nearly 1,400 students graduated from the University of New England on Saturday. According to a school spokesperson, members of this year's graduating class represented all of Maine's 16 counties, 49 U.S. states and territories, and 6 countries. Dan McCormack of Spectrum Healthcare Partners, longtime UNE trustee and former chair of the UNE Board of Trustees, delivered the commencement address. Nearly 1/3 of the undergraduates this year were first-generation college students, according to school officials. Well, more than 200 students officially graduated from Thomas College on Saturday as well. According to a school spokesperson, this year's graduates include those from its undergraduate and graduate programs, and historically, 73% of Thomas College graduates stay right here in Maine. The commencement address was delivered by Bill Burke, founder of the Optimism Institute. Saturday marked Thomas College's 132nd commencement ceremony. Well, a local organization hosted a community event to celebrate the newest affordable housing developments for seniors in Bangor. Our Alexa Kennedy with that story.
Penquis, a Maine community-based organization, hosted an event at Milford Place in Bangor to celebrate the construction of its newest affordable housing units for older adults. The project will bring 40 single-bedroom apartments to the community and is expected to open in April 2027. Community leaders, project partners, and supporters gathered for tours and a ceremonial hammer and nail signing to mark the milestone.
What we know in Maine is that we have a real lack of affordable housing for all ages, but in particular for older Mainers.
Operations manager for Penquis, Peter Malia, says rising costs and inflation continue to impact seniors' fixed incomes, making housing inaccessible for many.
We are definitely seeing that trend take place locally. If you look at our shelters, the amount of older adults who are relying on our shelters is increasing faster.
Hayes says the development will set aside 8 units for individuals from the Bangor area homeless shelter.
A lot of variables really are pushing against the feasibility of this project, but we continue to persevere.
Malia says affordable housing projects are increasingly difficult when navigating changes in construction costs and interest rates.
The community, it helps folks that may be insecure about housing as they age and be able to remain in the community, and that's the biggest part of this.
Rogers says the development includes community rooms to encourage socialization, keeping older individuals active and involved.
Being together with 40 other residents in a community and having dignity and long-term housing is just, it helps people to stay healthy and thrive, and that matters so much to us as an organization.
Hayes says Milford Place was made possible through endless community support.
A project like this takes a lot of partners, local, state, and federal, and it's because of the work and commitment of many that got us here.
In Bangor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:19. After the break, the hantavirus cruise ship arrived in port. We'll have more information about the crew quarantine coming up. Plus, turning our attention back to Searsmont, we'll show you how the community is rallying behind first responders as Good Morning Maine continues.
Susan Collins' charade is over. We don't care that you pretend to be remorseful at the start of a new forever war that you chose to let happen. We don't care that you are concerned while we go broke as you sell us out to the president and to the Epstein class, who are engineering the greatest redistribution of wealth from the working class to the ruling class in this nation's history. Symbolic opposition doesn't reopen hospitals. Weak condemnations don't bring back Roe v. Wade. And selling out the same working class voters who've delivered mandate for change after mandate for change is not forgivable. A performative politics that enables the destruction of our way of life is disqualified. As a United States Senator, I am running because it is time for change.
I'm Grant Plattner, and I approve this message.
Hey, Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant in Bangor or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick 'em Red Sox is sponsored by Seasons Grill and Lounge on Main Street in Bangor, Twin City Tile, State Street in Brewer, Patrick's Pressure Washing and Sandblasting, and Bogies on Stillwater Avenue in Bangor.
There were folks in Searsmont rallying around first responders and affected families, and they wasted no time gathering donations as the scene on Friday unfolded. Our Callie Warren has more on that side of the story.
I think even our people, don't you think?
It was our people that wasted no time.
The town.
Our customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town is so ready to help and jump in.
It may have been a devastating Friday for those in Searsmont, but the rallying of community support made sure that nobody went through it alone.
And we had people calling and just saying, how can we help? How can we help?
Fraternity Village Store is the center of this small town and quickly became the gathering point for those looking to nurture their neighbors in a time of need.
A lot of people want to donate. A lot of people have called and asked to donate, and so we've just kind of made this the local point to drop off things. And
we've had someone from Bangor come and drop off water, and people are really coming together.
The parking lot bustled with people all afternoon, bringing in case after case of water, sports drinks, and food for the immense amount of first responders battling a fire at Robbins Lumber Mill. Community members say it was simply the right thing to do.
When there's a traumatic event, there's no hesitation to pull together and do what needs to be done. At the end of the day, everybody here that's showing up, you know, they have family that's there, they've got friends that's there, and if it's not a direct impact like that, you know, they've got friends of friends that are involved in one way or another.
Locals say it was certainly a difficult day.
You know, we know so many of them, so.
Yeah, I mean, we've had their kids working here, so
yeah.
It is definitely devastating.
But the strength of their small town, coupled with statewide support, kept them going.
It's the little things that add up. It doesn't have to be something that costs. It doesn't have to be something that you're giving up for somebody else. It's just a matter of time. A little bit of time is all it takes to make a big difference.
To leave a donation and help support firefighters, first responders, and those impacted by the Robbins Lumber Mill fire, you can visit or call the Fraternity Village store in Searsmont. More information will also be available on our website, foxbangor.com. In Searsmont, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Wave height's not looking too bad at around 2 feet according to the buoys. We have no advisories in effect along the coast or even on land either, so we're looking pretty good this morning. We just have some clouds developing, so we will have clouds today, and we're watching some rain rain showers that's developing as well. Even a few lightning bolts with this wave of rain too. We will just have rain showers today with temperatures overall that will be in the 60s. A little bit more fanfare across parts of the Midwest this morning. Meanwhile, for us today, we will have clouds, some rain showers developing. We'll lose some of the clouds overnight, although we will be partly cloudy overnight. Some opportunities for some fog overnight as well. As we head towards your Tuesday, some rain to the north, showers and thunderstorms for us later on into the daytime period too. Now as we head towards Tuesday night into parts of Wednesday, again, clouds not looking too bad. Notice some rain across the northwestern parts of the state by early Wednesday morning. Now through Tuesday, notice there is a light green shade right here. That is a marginal threat for some of the storms that get on the stronger side. Gusty winds and hail not out of the question for the areas highlighted in that light green. Meanwhile, moving forward, a lot of rainfall throughout the week as well. Mainly areas that could see around a half-inch to even over an inch possible between now and Thursday possible throughout the week. So we will be keeping an eye on that. Meanwhile, I haven't dug out the muggy meter in a while. It's going to get a little humid coming up Tuesday into parts of Wednesday. We'll have some dew points getting up into the mid-60s. We haven't talked about that in a while, but that will be coming up for us. But coming up for today, here we go. We have mid-60s, mostly cloudy, some rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog with lows in the upper 40s, and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, scattered showers and some thunderstorms. Look at this high temperature. Upper 80s on the way, and that south wind getting up to about 20 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Wednesday. More showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 80s. Warm again, low 60s. We cool off Thursday, cold front passing through under a mostly sunny sky. Partly cloudy coming up Friday with highs in the mid-60s.
Rennie's, a Maine adventure.
It's spring in Maine, and whether it's warm or cold, Rennie's has you covered.
Carhartt shorts, Sun Defender t-shirts, pants, sweatshirts, and sweatpants. You name it, we got it.
Thank you for shopping Rennie.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive in the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bush, and I know what you're thinking, not another Bush, but hear me out. I'm not a politician or a lobbyist. I'm a veteran, an entrepreneur who created over 900 jobs in Maine. And as governor, I'll take a sledgehammer to Janet Mills' wasteful spending. I'll slash your taxes, property, and income, and put the Democrats' woke policies in the shredder. I'm Jonathan Bush. It's time for a... Johnny, don't touch the shredder!
The item I sold him is exactly what I sold him.
It's actually not. This is your mistake to correct. Do you not understand that? And then you want to come in here and sue him for $4,000? Are you crazy?
Hot Bench.
Monday at 3 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
President Trump has issued a new warning to Iran, suggesting time is running out to reach a peace deal. The president saying in an interview Iran can make a deal or they can get annihilated. ABC's Lionel Moyes is in New York with the latest.
This morning, President Trump with a new threat to Iran, warning time is running out to reach a peace deal. Trump saying, quote, they better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them. The president posting what appears to be AI-generated images of him pressing a red button with explosions and a mushroom cloud on screens around him. Oil prices rising overnight after a drone attack on a nuclear plant in the United Arab Emirates. With the Memorial Day holiday approaching, gas prices here at home now averaging around $4.50 a gallon. Republicans acknowledging little can be done to lower prices beyond reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
So as soon as we get that straightened out, we will get back to the kitchen table issues, the economic issues that we put in place to make the economy grow.
Do I worry about gas prices? Yes. But President Trump's right. The biggest threat to the stability in the world is a nuclear-armed Iran, and whatever price we have to pay, we will pay.
Rising gas prices causing some drivers to change their holiday plans.
I was going to take my dogs to Arizona, but now I'm going to take them to Asheville.
A AAA survey finds half of drivers in Michigan are allowing their tanks to get closer to E than usual before filling up, but experts warn that's not a good idea.
I could definitely understand how people would be reluctant to fill up their tank, particularly happen to be at a station where the price is not the best. So they may want to skimp on not filling all the way up, but you have to be careful about not running out of gas.
As for Iran, President Trump did not give a new deadline for Iran's response as he has done in the past. Last week, the president called the ceasefire with Iran unbelievably weak. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
The hantavirus-hit cruise ship MV Hondius arrived at the port of Rotterdam this morning, where it will be disinfected and its crew members will then go into quarantine. Last week, the passengers on board were taken off ship and into quarantine, but local authorities said that the quarantine facilities had been set up for some of the non-Dutch crew, though it was not clear yet if they said that they would stay there for the full recommended 42-day quarantine period. The Dutch flag luxury cruise ship had been carrying around 150 passengers and crew from 23 countries when a cluster of severe respiratory illnesses among passengers was first reported to the World Health Organization on May 2nd. 3 people, a Dutch couple and a German national, have died since the start of that outbreak. Well, now to a crash caught on camera at the air show in Idaho. 4 crew members ejecting in time. ABC's Hannah Battah with that story.
This morning, 4 crew members are recovering after this horrifying crash between Navy fighter jets during an air show at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho.
Got to see the 2 that actually crashed pull up in front of us, and we got to see them first. They had actually flown up and did a maneuver where they were both side by side.
The 2 modified F-18s were performing an aerial demonstration when they appeared to touch and get tangled together. The jets hanging in the air for a few moments before the crew ejects. You see their parachutes opening before the planes plunge to the ground, exploding on impact.
We turned around and there was just this giant black smoke, and we were wondering what had happened.
The base was briefly locked down, but no one on the ground was injured.
There have been 4 good parachutes that were seen, and we ask that everyone remain where you are.
The jets involved are a variant of the F-18 known as a Growler. They reportedly cost a combined $134 million. An aviation safety expert says it appears pilot error is to blame, saying rendezvousing with another airplane in formation flight is challenging, and it has to be done just right to prevent exactly this kind of thing. The air show was the first at that base since 2018, when a hang glider was killed during a performance. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
A chaotic morning commute in America's biggest city. The largest commuter railroad service in the country is shut down with workers on strike, demanding a raise and more health care benefits. Here's ABC's Allison Kosick.
What do we want? Contract. When do we want it? Now.
It's a morning commute nightmare. This morning, some 250,000 people who ride the nation's largest commuter rail system to work each day need to find a different way to get to work.
I can't imagine what people are going to be doing on Monday.
Unionized workers for New York's Long Island Railroad are on strike, demanding a pay raise of up to 5% and lower health care costs. The rail system is massive, 126 stations, 700 miles of track.
The railroad is the lifeblood of Long Island. Without it, life as we know it is simply not possible.
The MTA, which operates the railroad, says our last offer literally gave them everything they said they wanted in terms of pay, but they rejected even that. But the union saying this strike would not have happened if the MTA and LIRR offered our members the reasonable terms the government recommended multiple times.
We apologize, but we didn't want to do this. We've been negotiating, and it finally came to the point, sadly, we had to do this.
Shuttle buses are being offered to get people to the New York City subway, but officials are urging people to work from home if possible. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, residents are on the hunt for treasure in San Francisco. This and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Who is the real Graham Plattner? He calls rural Mainers stupid and racist. Plattner says some Maine lobstermen are drug-addicted pieces of shit. He blames Maine's women for getting raped because he says they get up drunk. Graham Plattner even bragged about a Nazi tattoo on his chest. He calls it eminently reasonable. That's the real Graham Plattner. To be continued. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This Nissan lineup goes where you take it. Vehicles built with oomph, torque, traction, and yeah, full control. That's the power of a Nissan. Now's the time to drive. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality. Well-qualified buyers get 0% APR on select model trims or get up to $4,750 total savings on Frontier.
Honeymoon, here we come.
Ew.
Oh, I think I stepped in something.
It was supposed to look like this.
How bad do you think their room is? This is the room with the view?
We've got to get out of here.
My AAA travel advisor Jack can help us out.
Right. I married into the AAA family.
Book the trip you deserve with AAA travel advisors and exclusive member benefits. AAA, we're always with you.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art says it will merge with the Neue Gallery. The collection is founded by Ronald Lauder. He is the heir to the Estee Lauder business and a former U.S. ambassador to Austria. Among the iconic pieces that will join the Met, Gustav Klimt's shimmering Woman in Gold from 1907. Neither museum disclosed those financial arrangements just yet. Ronald Lauder's daughter Jane is married to incoming Fed Chair Kevin Warsh. The Met said it will assume ownership and operation of the Lauder's 25-year-old museum in 2028, informally renaming it to the Met Neue Gallery. Well, now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. No advisories in effect. We're just watching some cloud cover moving in from the northwest and going toward the south and east. Overall, we will be watching for some rain showers that will be developing coming up later on today, moving from the northwest west and going toward the south and east. We can see those rain showers developing right about in here, and even some thunderstorms showing up too. We have some lightning showing up. That lightning will be disappearing coming up later on. Futurecast showing the clouds and even the rain showers moving in later on this afternoon. We'll lose the rain showers coming up, some clouds and even some fog developing later on tonight. As for the wind, it won't be much of a problem today. Maybe a few gusts coming up during the afternoon period, up to around 15 miles per hour. The winds overall backing off later on tonight, but really picking up for everybody as we head towards your Tuesday. Before today, mid-60s, mostly cloudy rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, clouds today, chances for rain showers. Temperature is in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports. Don't go away.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
With the great backyard comes great responsibility. From the keeper of the flame to the referee of the greatest game ever played. Lifelong memories start here at Glen Burn Landscape and Supply. Residential and commercial projects are a breeze with our premium mulch, stone, and topsoil products. And maintain your backyard in style with the industry's leading lawn care products and equipment. Built to work and built to last. With rugged durability and superior performance, these tools were built for you. Glen Burn Landscape and Supply, where great backyards begin.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back, folks. I'm here with Husson men's lacrosse head coach and 2026 North Atlantic Conference champion Mike O'Neill. Mike, thanks for so much for joining me here today. And we brought you in because of the season you guys had, right? First, I want to start with that championship here. What was that, a couple weekends ago? Beating Maine Maritime 16-12 in the final. I mean, you guys have been close, but how good did it feel to finally get over the hump for you and your team?
Well, first of all, they're a great team. They're a great team. They're well coached. They have some outstanding athletes, and you know, we certainly were hopeful that we could be competitive, but as I say, hope is not a strategy, you know. And so, you know, we kind of improved all along, you know, during the season, and just had a great weekend, and certain things fell our way, and we were ultimately successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Maine Maritime, that final game of the regular season, which determined the seeding, right? Where was the tournament going to be held? It didn't go your guys' way. What sticks out to me was that 8-goal third quarter from MMA that kind of helped them pull away. And just, I want to know, what were the conversations like after that game, right? There's so much energy. There's so much excitement. You know, it gets built up so much, you know, a regular season finale like that, and for it to go that way. And then for you guys to turn around and be able to bounce back, right? What were those conversations like, and how'd your team respond, you know, to that loss?
Well, first of all, in the regular season, going into that, we were the 1 seed and they were the 2 seed. But they came out and just spanked us. You know, they really crushed us, and you know, they were definitely the better team. But it's very hard to play the same team twice in a season, and I think that was a major factor. You know, And we, you know, we were just determined, and you know, it was a tough schedule, you know, for the championship. It was a Saturday Sunday situation where, you know, we wanted to go, you know, Friday Sunday, but you know the third seed Delhi didn't want to do that because they're driving 9 hours, and so it just worked out, and I think we were pretty lucky, and I think we're very thankful that it all worked out our way.
No doubt. And as for your team, you know, what was the difference? You got here in 2021. You guys have been close, but haven't gotten over the hump like we talked about. What do you think the difference was this year?
Well, you know, candidly, I inherited a dumpster fire. Okay, I mean, my team had barely a 2.0 GPA. I had 17 players, no goalie when I got here. You know, let's not kid anybody. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But you know, we recruited hard, and we got some amazing kids, and you know, we were able to, you know, bring our team GP up over a 3.5, and you know, the kids that we have now are pretty outstanding. You know, Kieran Field, who's our leading scorer, he had 101 points this year. He had 87 goals.
Wow.
And you know, he's the 4th leading scorer in the country in Division III. So, you know, those kind of players don't grow on trees, and we're pretty lucky to have him.
Yeah, certainly. That's an outstanding job by you and your staff. And I think just you look at Husson Athletics as a whole, right? This spring, baseball, softball, both lacrosses. How much does, you know, the athletic program and what they pour into it and how serious they take it, how much does that help you recruiting-wise?
Well, first of all, in all college athletics, this has been a very challenging year. A lot of small schools have closed their doors, and so, you know, this past year, you know, budgets have tightened, and you know, I think our administration has done an incredible job looking ahead and making Husson sustainable. You know, as I say, in small college athletics, they're culling the herd. You know, these small schools are closing, and so, you know, we've had certain challenges, you know, in that way. But you know, overall, you know, we talk about our men's baseball team, our women's softball team, our women's lacrosse team, and our men's lacrosse team. You know, all 4 of those teams, you know, they all have over 3.5 GPA. Those kids are working really hard in their schoolwork. Plus, you know, we've had an incredibly snowy, you know,
no doubt,
spring.
Yeah.
And you know, you combine that challenges with their requirement to fundraise to you know, make things work. I think have led to some really driven athletes and coaches.
Love that, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after the break.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
When you work in disaster services, the phone rings at all hours. Knobscott Cleaning, can I help you? People appreciate hearing a real voice on the other end. Since 1976, that personal touch has set us apart. When disaster strikes, you just want your life back to normal. You want a reputable company, someone you can trust. We take care of things and give you peace of mind. I'm Jason Sear, owner of Penobscot Cleaning Services. 24/7, we're here for you.
At Spectrum, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between speed, reliability, and value. That's why Spectrum fiber-powered internet gives you all 3 for just $40 a month. No contracts, no commitment, just great internet at a great price. Spectrum fiber-powered internet delivers the fastest and most reliable internet for everything you do at home: streaming, gaming, and connecting. Switch today and get Spectrum fiber-powered internet for just $40 a month. Call now or go online.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, there are apparently quite a few people who want to be rich in San Francisco. More than 2 weeks into a citywide hunt for buried treasure, the $10,000 prize remains hidden. And unlike last year, this year appears to be significantly more of a challenge. ABC's Danny New with the story.
If you want to feel like Henry Winkler in Holes and get to open up a treasure chest, you may need to head to San Francisco.
Solved it 2 years ago, but somebody got it before I got there.
For the past 2 weeks, folks like Renette Hammer here have been hunting for a buried treasure in the city, just like last year. However, that treasure was found within 11 hours, so I guess organizers stepped it up this time. They posted to buriedtreasuresf.com saying, quote, "We buried a $10,000 treasure chest that weighs more than 150 pounds, is buried a foot deep, and is somewhere within 7 miles of City Hall." Also, they left this poem as a clue.
I don't think it's at this park.
You think it's at another?
I know where it is.
A nearby one?
It's not nearby.
How far?
7 miles.
Still doesn't really feel real.
Now, about 2 years ago, I introduced you to a family in Utah that won a different annual treasure hunt, this one for $25,000.
I'm gonna finish my degree, go back to school shopping today. That'll be the first thing we spend it on.
Like San Francisco's, the Utah treasure hunt also features hints from poetry, but the organizers do not stay anonymous. Back in 2024, they talked to me about how hard it is to organize something so mysterious.
The poems take a couple months just to write. We're trying to fool 40,000 people who have access to the internet and AI.
Meanwhile, though, in the Bay Area, apparently too many people are being fooled.
5 steps into the park and you can see right here somebody has been digging.
Because as ABC reporter J.R. Stone shows us, now all these holes are being spotted in the city's parks. In fact, the organizers posted on Reddit saying they received an email from Parks and Recreation about, quote, significant irrigation system and plant damage. So maybe just an 11-hour treasure hunt was a good thing.
And there are beautiful flowers here, so who would want to destroy a park? But for 10 grand.
Meanwhile, according to the Utah Treasure Hunt website, its annual 25 grand hunt begins in just a few weeks, May 30th at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. But everyone just maybe consider filling your holes in this one. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Wave height's not looking too bad at around 2 feet according to the buoys. We have no advisories in effect along the coast or even on land either, so we're looking pretty good this morning. We just have some clouds developing, so we will have clouds today, and we're watching some rain showers that's developing as well. Even a few lightning bolts with this wave of rain too. We will just have rain showers today with temperatures overall that will be in the 60s. A little bit more fanfare across parts of the Midwest this morning. Meanwhile, for us today, we will have clouds, some rain showers developing. We'll lose some of the clouds overnight, although we will be partly cloudy overnight. Some opportunities for some fog overnight as well. As we head towards your Tuesday, some rain to the north, showers and thunderstorms for us later on into the daytime period too. Now as we head towards Tuesday night into parts of Wednesday, again, clouds not looking too bad. Notice some rain across the northwestern parts of the state by early Wednesday morning. Now through Tuesday, notice there is a light green shade right here. That is a marginal threat for some of the storms that get on the stronger side. Gusty winds and hail not out of the question for the areas highlighted and not light green. Meanwhile, moving forward, a lot of rainfall throughout the week as well. Mainly areas that could see around a ½ inch to even over an inch possible between now and Thursday possible throughout the week. So we will be keeping an eye on that. Meanwhile, I haven't dug out the muggy meter in a while. It's going to get a little humid coming up Tuesday into parts of Wednesday. We'll have some dew points getting up into the mid 60s. We haven't talked about that in a while, but that will be coming up for us. But coming up for today, here we go. We have mid-60s, mostly cloudy, some rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog with lows in the upper 40s, and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, scattered showers and some thunderstorms. Look at this high temperature. Upper 80s on the way, and that south wind getting up to about 20 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Wednesday. More showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 80s. Warm again, low 60s. We cool off Thursday, cold front passing through under a mostly sunny sky. Partly cloudy coming up Friday with highs in the mid-60s.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm Jordan Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away health care. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections. I spent my career defending democracy from election deniers and fighting corporate PACs. We need to take on Trump, beat Paul LePage, and finally deliver Medicare for all. I'm Jordan Wood. I approve this message.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Over 250 years ago, we didn't like the taxes, so we dumped the tea. Today, that same unstoppable spirit drives Ram. Now with the Ram Declaration of Deals, we're pledging our allegiance to the American people. 0% financing for 60 months on select 2026 models, or we'll cover your sales tax, plus no monthly payments for 90 days, and a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Because a promise means nothing unless you back it up. Nothing stops America. Nothing stops Ram.
This morning on GMA, I'm here. It's Brooke Shields. And this week, here comes Kiki.
I don't know if I can say this on TV, but you know.
Kiki Palmer lights up the morning.
I would love that so much.
This week on
Good Morning America.
A bad job for someone who counts slow.
A stripper, Steve.
Wait a minute. 31, 32.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
Two officers in Colorado helped a very unusual passerby, a beaver. The Firestone Police Department shared the video of the moments officers had to use creativity to move a beaver off the roadway. The video shows how the large animal did not want to move despite agents' efforts to call his attention. And it wasn't until one of the officers actually pulled a traffic cone to prompt him to move. Officials say that the animal was about 16 inches tall and weighed between 35 to 45 pounds. And a very special delivery at the Berlin Zoo. It's a tiny and rare pygmy hippopotamus. She was born this month at the zoo, weighing roughly 13 pounds, and she is already gaining weight. The zoo said that pygmy hippos are solitary animals, and the mom, Debbie, will raise her calf on her own. The new baby hippo has yet to be named. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22. Have a great day, everyone.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney. With first responder experience, he protects fellow riders and those in danger. Fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kurt Fisher will be looking for you.
You build more than projects. You build what communities rely on. When the job site runs on results, put Kubota to work. Backed by expert service and support from your local Kubota dealer. Right now, bring home select Kubota KX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
All across America.
Good morning. Hello.
Wherever we are,
welcome home.
It feels like home.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Man, it's good to be home.
GMA, it's an invitation to come together.
Hey, George, how are you? Good morning.
And brighten your morning.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salads, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Right now on Good Morning.
Live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll have an update on the investigation into the tragic fire at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont. Plus, Penquist hosted an event at Milford Place in Bangor to celebrate the construction of its new affordable housing units. We'll have the details ahead. And Thomas College and the University of New England celebrated their graduations over the weekend as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. It looks like it will be a mostly cloudy day with temperatures in the 60s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Monday, your first